For now, though, here for the HGC 2017, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
The 2017 Heroes Global Championship Finals are brought to you in part by Republic of Gamers, Intel, T-Mobile, and NVIDIA.
Thank you very much for that, as of course we do now move on in just a few moments' time to game number 2. But of course, there's still a little few factors here from game number 1 that are interesting. Primarily, a few talent choices here and there that I wasn't expecting. Even something that we should, tell the audience about in general is Kyocha will flex to things like Tracer. Typically people out there are expecting him to be the support of the team, or at least one of the main supports, but that thing is a potential dread.
Yeah, they've been comfortable. Not only, I feel like it goes a little bit beyond the Tracer. If you go way back to the Spring Global Championship and look at the kind of core heroes that he ended up playing on at that point in time, it does feel like when push comes to shove, they're comfortable just going, way back in the day, Kyocha, legendary on these, we'll feel comfortable doing that, and we'll kind of, move into that support role in the meantime. So it wasn't that surprising to be able to see it, but it's not every time they have a Tracer he's on it.
All right, well, let's move on to game number 2. It's going to be our battleground. Let's find out where we're going to, as we had Sky Temple for game number 1. Game 2, chosen by Deadlykittens, Dragon Shire.
No surprise.
This is a Deadly Kitten map through and through. I mean, we're looking at the qualifiers with this new roster, even just if you go back a few in terms of this history as a team. Dragon Shire has always been their go-to map. They have a high win rate on it as well, so bring it back to something that they're comfortable on, try and net themselves a win, or like we saw at the Eastern Clash, a much closer game.
I will say that I was extremely of high praise, at the mid-season brawl of the performance of Deadlykittens, specifically on Dragonshire. I think that their rotations were beautiful and fluid. And yes, they are working with a bit of a different squad that they've seen more confident with. But I will say that it doesn't seem as perfected or calculated as it seemed like it was at the midseason brawl. I'm not going to say that it's, a poor performance by any means. They are still very good at Dragonshire. But for instance, the Dragonite mid-tier split pushing up on the top, they're still great at getting their pressure out on multiple lanes at once, but utilizing the Dragonite seems to have kind of taken a step back.
All right, game number 2, MVP Black currently leads 1-0 in this best of 3, going up against Deadlykittens.
Immediately, you got to be considering the Brightwing. On a map like Dragonshire, when globals are so very effective, even more so than some of the other maps there, and the double support, she is really just standout support across the board. So we're going to see that there from MVP Black, but any expectations, anybody, on Deadlykittens?
Question I wonder if they decide to go for the Testadar ban or not. I've seen them go for the Testadar ban in the past. You saw them do it last game as well. Trashadar, as we've coined it.
As you've coined it.
I've coined it.
Let's just be specific there.
I want to embrace us on this disc, you're with it for the long ride.
All right, so this is begging Deadlykittens to open up Tassadar Vala now. Otherwise, they'll end up giving Tracer Tassadar. I'm not entirely on board yet with that skimmy. Giving away Tassadar here could be a big problem. You could see something like Tracer, Muradin, Tassadar in the first 3 for Black. So the obvious thing to do for Deadlykittens would be Tassadar Vala. They have run really good Vala in the past on Dragonshire. It's very strong 3 to 4 man lane kind of map. So these heroes are very good at that, Tassadar and Vala. Good wave clear and pressure.
Another thing to reiterate, because we saw kind of the Johanna be picked up into the last game, and I was talking about the lack of pressure and maps and synergies that maybe I would like to see a bit more. This is one of the cases where if they did move into that Tazvala, a later Johanna synergy with Rain would really pay off. It gets a lot of threat and pressure onto the lanes across the board from beginning to end of Dragonshire.
As much as Valor is an all-round hero and almost everybody's comfortable on it, is it an interesting thing to note that NSJ more played the Genjis and the Greymanes in his recent games compared to something like a Valor, so maybe he's not as well versed on it in the current meta. Is that something that could be a hindrance and maybe even researched by MVP Black?
I think it's possible to get that level of depth of research, but to be honest, MVP Black has been honest with us, and for the most part, of just being it doesn't seem like they have much respect for opponents, specific ones, and when they don't, they just don't research them. Historically, when we've been like, what do you think, about North America? They're just like, ultimately, we didn't look much into them because we're confident we will just beat them.
Didn't the MVP Black say they only pretty much know one player from North America? It's like, yeah, we know Glarung.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, of course, they lost to Roll20 and Glarung, so he's worth remembering. For the rest, they don't really know who's on what team, where North America is on the world map.
I think it wasn't just one player. I think it was also one strategy that was worth remembering for them.
So what I like about this draft so far, I like the direction they go for the Sonya instead of the Vala. Deny what Rich was so powerful, and they go for the outfield. And this time it makes a lot more sense. That way you're guaranteeing yourself a winning matchup for the most part in that top lane. The Rhaegar, I like this idea from MVP Black. It's a case of saying, look, Jinwoo is so confident on this because of that communication issue. We can try and flex him into a different support like the Oriole game one and try and put him in that moment of like, will he have our back to make sure these fights go in our favor?
You say a potential communication issue, and just to elaborate for people out there, Jinwoo compared to Confidence's English isn't as fantastic. So that is why that may happen there, just covering that.
Because it should be noted that there are 3 members that are Filipino as well.
Yes.
So like there is a language,
Precisely.
mixture going on that they have been able to overcome, and it's been very, very impressive. But I do want to highlight the double support commitment to MVP Black there, that high up. The Lieutenant Morales is something that Sake has been displaying for a long period of time. But to be able to get that Rhaegar on a map like Dragonshire and secure wave clear within your supports when you commit to double support is absolutely necessary. The other one that sits at the forefront, Tassadar, but with Deadlykittens taking it out, I think that was a really nice adjustment there for Black.
Interestingly, of course, as well, MVP Black knows that everyone's eyes are going to be on them. So if they have certain high priority picks that they can delay to pretend not to be interested in them, for example, Muradin, that is going to be an extra benefit. It is a risk, even against Deadlykittens, to take such an approach, but I do think we have to call it as happening right here under our eyes. Not picking Sonya early, not picking Muradin early, and going for the Morales Rhaegar.
I'd ask you to describe it. Are you a fan of the fact they went for the Johanna, given they know it's going to be Lieutenant Morales with a very heavy front line, heavy backline priority? I mean, you've got the Sonya, you've got the Vala, you've got almost a hashed effort of what MVP did just before in game number 1. Some way of targeting that medic and like locking them down, because otherwise it's going to be the Kyoto show once again on Tracer.
I mean, I'm really not sure yet about Johanna before you. Whoa!
Oh, baby!
Okay!
And Tyrael.
Butcher.
So we're thinking they're just going to play standard, not show us anything. They come up with the Butcher.
I mean, there's 2 arts of war, right? Showing standard, not showing anything special, or showing standard special things that you do not intend to use later on in the tournament. And then there's the double mind game, showing special things that you will use later in the tournament, pretending to pass them off as irrelevant strategies.
I think the very interesting thing about this is actually one of the maps that we saw him more frequently on when we saw him infrequently in the past. Something like this in Blackheart's Bay way long ago, but this was one of the maps where he has strength.
So, the Butcher, he's been reworked a few times. Right now, Butcher needs 200 pieces of meat. This can be collected from hero kills, so he needs about 8 kills, or 200 lane minions. That takes way too long. So, right now, Butcher does need a lot of early game takedowns to get the kind of meat that gives him bonus attack speed and bonus damage and makes him a force to be reckoned with. If Butcher can be killed early and often by DK, he will never come into the game and he will be a burden. But if he pops off early on, he will be an absolute monster.
What do you think about the Stukov going up against the Butcher?
That was a very clever adjustment to be able to help stop with the Ruthless Onslaught, be able to deter the support and help with the kill potential. But I do have concern with a frontliner that cannot synergize with the Stukov. When you have Stukov on your team, you want that Muradin, you want somebody with hard CC, the gap closer to lock them down to make sure that your lurking arm is going to be effective and that double support actually has problems. I love the draft here. I want to highlight that I think Deadlykittens drafted day and night from game number 1 and 2. It is very impressive, the composition they've developed. Just obviously, this is MVP Black and a wild flare of the Butcher coming in.
It feels almost like to me a case of we're going to go for the Stukov to try and match that sustain that Rhaegar will be able to bring in that AoE center, but also the lurking arm not going to be utilized as an aggressive tactic. More so, we know that you're going to Tyrael Judgment in. We know you're going to jump in with the Eldrin's Might. We know you're going to jump in with the Butcher's Ruthless Onslaught. So I just put it onto you. I can guarantee that that is then the flick of the switch to turn things around. Potentially, flating swipe, if things get too racy, they just smack you away and say, let's try again, boys.
I love the adaptations that we're seeing here in this second game. As much as you say, MVP Black, very clear favourite. And I've got to wonder how much of Grubby's useless strategies that might not come out later down the line. This is for MVP Black. It's a quite conundrum.
We simply don't know yet. And that's part of the excitement and the mystery of this match and going forwards in the tournament. But yeah. Deadlykittens, much better draft, take away the names, and I will say that it is fairly even. Stukov is going to have a huge burden on his rather significant shoulders. He can actually preempt the Eldruin's Might from Tyrael and the Ruthless Onslaught from Butcher. putting a lurking arm defensively is going to be the key to completely disassembling the attack of MVP Black. So if Stukov plays well and is protected from the Tracer attacking him while he lurking arms, this could be a very potent combination for Deadlykittens.
Okay, gentlemen, I think we're ready to head over to the commentary team here for game number 2. MVP Black brings the Butcher. Deadlykittens responds with Stukov. Let's find out with Wolf and Jayhow.
Well, Wolf, I don't know if you know this, but I love Butcher.
I know you love Butcher, and I know you're very excited about this. I'm not excited for Deadlykittens necessarily about dealing with this comp. I think it's going to be pretty tough. Going to be seeing a lot of meat stacks coming through. Some fresh meat is going to be on the table here. I'm excited to see how it plays out, but with so much protection for the Butcher here, I mean, what are you going to do? It's going to be tough.
You cross your fingers and hope that you don't end up like Tychus in his very scary trailer, as I think we are ready for game number 2 here, as MVP Black is going to be taking on Deadlykittens. Can they send it home on game number 2 and advance in here in our early Group A showing? Dragonshire, the name of the game. This is Deadlykittens' favorite map. When I talked to them the other day, away from everybody, I said, you guys going to be picking Dragonshire? They said, oh yeah.
I like that they were able to identify early on that Black was looking for a solo lane win and ban the Malthael. I think that was really important. That was, you know, it feels obvious oftentimes on a map like this, but I think that was the key. The draft for Deadlykittens, I agree with Dread, is much better than their game number 1 draft. Well, we were talking about a Butcher that is going to be protected by Borealis. Ancestral will be able to have Sanctification there as well. It's going to be very difficult to kill him. And I think that with the draft Deadlykittens has shown, I think Rubby's exactly right. Defending will be key with that lurking arm.
Rich is one of my absolute most favorite people to watch, whether he's streaming or whether he's playing in-game. I absolutely love watching Rich play. And he plays such a wide variety of heroes. He's so good on so many heroes. He's renowned as being one of the best. I want to see what he can do here on Butcher.
We're just going to see this prolonged fight here. NSJ is going to get caught. Will he get over the wall, though? Just barely not. It's going to be a trade, actually. A reset there. Rich overextending, does die. And remember, as was mentioned, I believe it was by Caleris there on the desk, early game is so crucial for Butcher. Pick out the stacks. Every death is a detriment as you lose. Probably in this case, all of your stacks for him in this early game. We're only less than a minute in, so staying alive, farming those stacks is so quintessential.
Yeah, it'll be very curious. We already see the block coming out from Sonya for that level 1 talent to deal with those dives. It doesn't necessarily do well against Tracer, but it will against those Butcher dives. We'll see how these lanes pan out. But post level 7, Butcher had a few minor nerfs, we could say. Level 7, he does get that spell armor when he does go in, charging in. So dealing potentially with the Q-built Vala that we see, that will most likely be coming out as the #1 choice. So different ways of dealing with it on both sides here.
So one thing you could do with Rhaegar on this map too is roam between top and mid. That's what we're seeing. He threatened, he pinged there. It was going to come up and harass the Sonya, went back mid, just threatening both lanes there. And we're going to see an attempt here to maybe grab NSJ. The Pulse Bomb is available, but with all the healing output here from Stukov, Coach I think is better, but just threatens it here. They're trying to gain control of this bot shrine. The top shrine already controlled it. No, Confidence body blocked here, and reset just with that extra damage that Rhaegar provides and the ability to rotate through quickly. Be the first pick of the game for him. So you can see the top lane, the shrine is being let go for just a moment. Rich is going to go up and just squat it to hold on to that there.
As you said, we just saw there on the main screen, we have reset going up on the Rhaegar, who will try and help there. But we have both of the shrines now being channeled by MVP Black, as Stronger just going to maintain here in the middle. Reset using that lightning shield to try and do a little bit of additional damage as Johanna walks away.
Just going to be threatening that Dragon Knight channel. Not going to actually happen. Look at this grenade, though. NSJ, no way out of this one. Pulse Bomb will help get some wave clear here, but not required for that pick, as, again, Deadlykittens rotated all of their power to the top lane because there's no way Inavir can actually take this away from Rich in this situation, just in the 1v1 matchup there with the squat. So when they rotate up, they're vulnerable. Black strikes. Speaking of vulnerable, Stronger is going to get over the wall here. Oh, gets over the wall. Aldruin's predicted, and he commits. No ammo.
Tist going in there, and Inavir's in all. Well, I take that back. I was going to say, I don't know if you can actually survive that. Rich did go. The cooldown reduction on his
man, this is risky. Look at Rich. This is something you'd see on his stream, his personal stream. where he baited confidence there so hard. I guarantee that was a call out from Deadlykittens saying, yo, he's coming. He's not mid. You should get back, even though Rich looks like a juicy target here. So good call to retreat there. But that's something you see in Rich's stream all the time in solo queue, is just these plays that look incredible where he baits somebody, has faith in his teammates. He will be able to get the channel off of this pick. And now this is the first Dragon Knight of the game marching down mid. They have this talent tier advantage, looking for a structural lead further than they already have with this as well. And the Deadlykittens, you know, they're just going to have to sit back and defend. NSJ caught here. Good heal coming out from Jinwoo, though. Just barely keeps him alive.
Jinwoo, the ultimate sacrifice there. NSJ is going to go down. And I want to talk about something. I want to touch on something the analyst panel said was the cooldown reduction. We see the cooldown reduction on charge from Butcher and, of course, the Heraldric Reforging by Tyria, which means that so long as he hits with that sword going out, he has cooldown. And when Butcher lands his charge, he gets cooldown. So playing around the Lurking Arm is going to be something very difficult because when you get those cooldowns off of those two abilities on the side of MVP Black, that Lurking Arm might not be there the second time. It's going to make it a lot easier to re-engage. Yeah, especially the charge one is the one you want to interrupt. You can. So we just see additional wave clear coming out here with Lightning Bond for reset. Just clearing this so quickly. That's one of the things that this comp was lacking from MVP Black. That's why they picked Rhaegar. You know, if they weren't going to go towards the Butcher comp, it's not strong with Tracer, but the wave clear is strong, you know, with Rhaegar in general as a support, and he's obviously going to be able to use Ancestral to great effect post-10, as this map is certainly heading there. This is one of the longest maps in the pool currently. Tist with the Noblesse invade there, trying to trick them to think there's more there, but Deadlykittens does not fall for it. I mean, when you've got the coach, you got Noblesse as your coach, you better be picking up some of those tricks. Quick update, 96 stacks on that fresh meat for Butcher. Still 100 plus away. Once he reaches those 200, he gets that extra damage. He gets that extra attack speed, which is when he really comes online. Speaking of coming online, we got 10, and we got ourselves a Stim Drone.
Okay, Stim Drone's coming through here. Big slows coming down here. There's the Lurking Arm onto Tist. Is going to have to kite back here right now. They're not going to commit any further than the Stim Drone. Bloodlust looks to be considered here for reset. I think that that would be a very showy move if they do commit to it. He's waiting for a potential fight where it could gain value. We'll be able to lock in the Ancestral as well in a crisis moment. I think it will 90% be that Ancestral, though.
Look, when you iron skin a Pulse Bomb, you throw down the spray. You take everything you can possibly get as Deadlykittens. Holding on, trying to get 10. We got the dive under. They've got minions. They're going to be there eating those shots. That's going to be a...
That's a lamb to the slaughter.
It's going to be a dead Sonya.
Yeah. She was the lamb.
Sonya to the slaughter.
Reset rotates up. You get the silence off. No 10. Nowhere to hide. She has to be there. They lose too much experience, but a good rotation here. Burst heal onto NSJ early this time. Parting Gift nearly helps finish him off. They're going to trade this. But again, trades at this stage, especially with the top lane pressure, are not enough for Deadlykittens. It just feels like a consolation prize only. Sake threatening here. Will finish his talent.
Does give you the XP that they desperately need right now. There's the slow. The Lurking Arm gonna thwart the Tyrael attack with no extra damage there, but we saw the ping on the mini-map. That was the Butcher and company stealing the Night Camp away from the side of Deadlykittens.
So much pressure gained while Deadlykittens is trading that pick, and that's what Black is going for. It's amazing if they get the kill and, you know, Kocha gets away, but in this case, with a trade, they still win out. Deadlykittens only just now getting level 10. Second Dragon Knight goes to Black, and it looks like they want to be aggressive with it, heading down, threatening that mid-keep. They do not want to go super late game here. They just want to finish this as soon as possible. This is going to force rotation here from Deadlykittens. We actually have the Butcher coming down here as well. Rich has come up, so not going to be trading experience. So what they can do, because the Butcher does so much damage, he's got such a large attack speed as well, more stacks he gets, especially once he finishes his quest. He's almost like his own mini Dragon Knight, so they're going to do damage here in 2 lanes.
If Butcher gets stacked late game and you get bonus stacks after you hit that 200, he's going in. There's the lamb to the slaughter. There's a dead follow. Butcher now sitting at 169, almost
very, very close.
Then he does become the Dragon Knight.
He could almost theoretically get stronger than the Dragon Knight at, you know, at some points, depending on how he builds. As Jinwoo's now going to be the next target. Pulse Bomb comes through. This is a slaughter. And this actually could end up being game if Deadlykittens can't push this out. Keep is very healthy still, though, so MVP Black needs to be careful not to overextend. They want to get those kills to try to end this early. Perfect grenade there onto Inavir.
Rich now sitting at 200 stacks, which means that even if he dies, they no longer go, and it's only up from here. That's going to be a bonus 10. Sitting at 210. They do not get the keep, however.
They don't get the keep. They
got a 3-level lead, though.
Yeah, they got a 3-level lead. Kills stack up. Didn't win this as hard as they wanted to, but Ancestral, again, that's why we knew that was very likely going to be the case. That keeps Rich alive. The stacks come through. Do want to point out something that we have new in the UI since HGC, of course, is the kill feed that shows the quest completion. So the stuff you guys see on the left side of your screen is showing when the quests are completed or sometimes when they are lost on death, for example, things like that. So you can kind of track that live now. So that's one of the new features we've got in the UI, and one of my favorites because it makes my job as a caster so much easier. Although I know you've got your screen right next to me, I can see exactly where everyone's at right now.
the system over here as I've got all the talents up here, but see Stronger and team trying to get a little bit of wave clear, trying to make sure and get some XP. So far, the last Dragon Knight, they weren't able to contest. They're going to try and make what could be one of their last stands of the series. With Butcher so high stacked, you get another kill or two like they had last time, it'll definitely be game. Where it's up to Deadlykittens to try and make something happen, but they've got a Knight camp and a Siege camp that are posturing up in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, they have Vala, they have Taster to try to clear this up. It's a good comp that can deal with things like this defensively, but once the gate goes down, I mean, this is going to be the floodgates open. Here comes the charge in. Good Iron Skin to deny it. Very well played.
The force wall there forced the repathing of Butcher. Again, the Iron Skin was there, but it was just, you know, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, well, I mean, two quick reactions there from Deadlykittens, charging on cooldown for a little bit longer here. They need to stay so far back. Look at NSJ's positioning right now. I am worried. Look at that. Lambda Slaughter over the wall here. That's the target. That's what I'm talking about. You position yourself like that, you are going to get punished. Look at this, knocking him into the edge of that pulse bomb. That's 2 dead here. Rich is just picking up the pieces, the fresh meat stacks here. Stronger in danger. That Sentry Cannon Tower is out of ammo.
Ooh.
The flail is going to keep them away for now, but again, more and more stacks. He's at 230 currently.
That was a very well-timed flailing swipe, because Stronger would have gone down there as he's going in a little bit. Again, getting that level 7 talent on the punish there from Johanna. They're looking for the re-engage. I don't think they're going to find it. They did take down the Tracer in that fight. However, they do still find themselves down 3 full levels and looking for some...
Yeah, I think Jinu is one of the MVPs of this game for sure. Like, he's actually been able to, with these lurking arms, prevent the unthinkable. You know, those lurking arms have really been quite well placed. And so I think that it's pretty impressive at this point that Deadlykittens still has all keeps alive. We are going to see this Unleash of the Dragon Knight attempted as Rich does survive here. They're going to lose it, though. But yeah, I think that having all keeps up does give them a chance back into this game.
Plus Shield going to buy a little bit of time, but they have no fort to go back to. NSJ gets the shield at the last moment, but he will go down. Butcher on the retreat for the moment. He'll have that re-engage. There's the insta-heal. He is so far stacked. Inavir on the left side will go down, but the action here on the right, the jukes from Tassadar, but Jinwoo and team in all kinds of troubles. The pulse bomb's going to hit, get the takedown onto Stukov, and a beautiful holy ground and body block by the rest of the team. MVP Black, they look kind of good right now.
They certainly do. This is one of those moments where you watch MVP Black or any other, you know, tier 1 team from any of the big 4 regions where you see plays like this happen. It just feels like the dominoes were laid out by Deadlykittens and it was just pushed over, and you just watch the beauty of the collapse there as all teammates go down. Tist going to Hearth perfectly in time with this channel, which is going to give the Dragon Knight over to, looks like Reset will channel it here. And that is just going to be, it feels like at this moment in time, walking down the red carpet. The defense for Deadlykittens has been great thus far, but the Butcher scaling is coming through. We're talking 260 stacks at this moment in time. The Dragon Knight scaling coming through.
The Dragon Knight scaling at this point is almost identical to the Butcher. I say that lightly, but watch when he auto-attacks these structures. It is wrecking the health bars. Butcher alone. 2 Dragon Knights. We've got another charge. Nice force wall, going to buy a few moments. Lamb to the Slaughter will pick up a Tassadar. Flailing swipe in return. It's only buying just a moment. Inavir surviving.
He does survive here, but the core is soon to be under attack. Everyone is very low. They need to get Inavir back to the Hall of Storms. He doesn't have time to get to the Hall of Storms, though. Good defensive setup here, though, from Stronger. He's slowing everyone down. He's keeping them off of the core, but picks are coming through. Great sanctification here. Inavir is the next target. Does heal himself up there with Whirlwind. Good lurking arm, but it's just a little bit too late here. And I think this is going to be the 2-0 as more and more carnage is on the board here, Chao.
Fresh meat for everybody, as that's going to be a final kill count of 24 for MVP Black, taking a 2-0 in our first series here against Deadlykittens.
It's, you know, it was a series where we saw some flair from this team. We saw the first Butcher of the tournament, the first Butcher for MVP Black this year. in terms of professional play, but something they've gone back to, something Rich, when he was using the ID Oreo Man, used back on Snake in 2015, one of his favorite heroes on stream. And it just feels like fan service in a way with how they took this 2-0.
I will personally thank him for playing my favorite hero here on stream. So definitely a very good showing from MVP Black. And I think it's to be expected. Deadlykittens, they even said in their pregame interview, hey, look, we've played them several times a year. We're not looking forward to playing against them. They're looking towards the later part of their Group A bracket. But we are going to have the congratulations here as MVP Black goes over. But I want to hear what Dreadnought thinks about my favorite hero with Kalaris and crew back at the analyst desk.
That's right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, as a swift 2-0 there for MVP Black with that Butcher Flare as Jay Howe was nerding out there for a moment, loving it, loving it. And let's go to Dread. What do you think of the Butcher, as Jay Howe so eloquently asked you?
I mean, I think it's a, rather creative adjustment to be able to deal with the Sonya 1v1, but if I'm on the, hype train at the same level as Jay Howe, I can put it as a solid nah.
Okay. I can appreciate that. But before we hear more thoughts on this series, let's head over to Kevin, who's at the stage for an interview.
Thank you so much, Kalaris. And yes, I'm here with none other than the Frontline Melee from MVP Black. This is Rich. Rich, congratulations on your win. I have to say, when everyone saw you lock in the Butcher in that game, they were very excited. Is that something we think we'll see more from you in this tournament?
우승 먼저 축하드립니다. 그리고 뱀픽 상황에서 도살자를 선택하셨는데요. 앞으로 대회에서도 자주 볼 수 있는 픽인지 좀 궁금합니다.
도살자 같은 경우는 유럽에 있는 팀 엑스퍼트랑 연습할 때 소냐 카운터로 엑스퍼트에서 먼저 썼어요. 그래가지고 그걸 따라 썼는데 그래도 약간 불안정한 게 있어서 자주 쓰진 않을 것 같아요.
He actually used the pick during the practice round with expert to basically counter pick the Sonya. But he still feels that it's kind of not stable right now, so he's not sure he's going to pick again.
All right. Well, there's no question that other teams, as well as the public at large, know that MVP Black is heavily favored to go far in this tournament. I want to hear from you specifically, though. What is it that you think makes your team so strong when compared against the others?
지금 대부분의 시청자분들이랑 지금 경기를 보시는 분들이 지금 MVP 블랙을 유력한 우승 후보로 보고 있는데 혹시 그렇게 보시는 이유가 뭐라고 생각하시나요?
그냥 저희 팀이 성적이 좋았던 것도 있고 이번엔 진짜 연습을 많이 했기 때문에 그런 것 같아요.
Our team has a very good past winning streak, and we practice very hard, and that's I think the main reason.
All right. Well, I can't wait to see more games from you. Fantastic play. Congratulations, and all the best as you continue to move forward in this group stage. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that is match number 1, all in the books for the HGC.